Okay, everyone, thank you for tuning in to this morning's Monday webinar. Today, we're going to go over website customization, different ways for you to customize or change certain things about your website. And we'll kind of go over some of the things that are offered. kvCORE has mentioned that they like to kind of keep it relatively simple because not everyone's a web developer. So the templates are a lot of them are pretty static, but there's ways that you can kind of edit them, change them, and customize them to kind of accomplish what you might want. So let's dive in. So going over to your kvCORE platform, the way you're going to edit some of these website settings are under the Web and IDX button here. And then the first thing we'll do is we'll kind of just scroll through some of the settings that you can change. So click the blue Edit Settings button. And in here, this is where you choose kind of the photos that are in rotation that kind of go. You see here behind me, behind my photo here, the photos kind of rotate through. And these are going to kind of be where they live. So if you like or dislike a photo, you can select it or deselect it. You can completely remove it from hitting one of these trash can icons. You can also upload your own image. They recommend that it is 1600 by 650 pixels for the best results, so that it's not pixelated or anything like that behind your website. I think scrolling through here, there's some relatively complex settings here. Different things, forced lead registration. We definitely want that. You can make it unenforced, but we do want to use our website as a lead registration tool, so we're going to leave that as normal. The website title, as you can see up here, right in the top of the tab, it says "Search for your perfect home" here. You can kind of change that too. The "Search for your perfect home" here is the default. It's the default title, but you can make it anything else. You can say "Find your dream home," or "Let me help you make your dreams come true," something like that. That's where you can kind of be creative. But I personally kind of like this, so I'm gonna leave it here. And then different things like this. There's custom headers, very complex stuff. Let's kind of look at some of the more incomplex things, some of the simpler things. Let's go over to the listing carousels. This is one of the things that when I meet with agents, this is kind of one of the things that they want to go over the most, because different agents have different things that they specialize in. So the listing carousels are going to be one of the places you can kind of customize your site, here within the website settings at least. But the listing carousels are these. The just reduced here, these just listed. These are what kvCORE refers to as the listing carousels, because like a carousel, you can scroll through and it revolves like a carousel. But you can customize these. Me personally, since I don't have any active listings, I have on here just the just reduced homes, and also homes that are new, that are just listed. But you can change those here in the listing carousels, which is also accessible here. Maybe you don't want the just reduced and you want my listings, or you also want to include the open houses in the area. You can do that. You can also only show your listings if you want to turn these ones off. Doesn't matter, but you have the power to do that. Or if you're someone like me who doesn't have listings, you can simply just show the different carousels that maybe don't directly apply to you. Sold properties, properties in a particular area. I'm just going to go with the just reduced, just listed. Make sure you save it. So scroll through these a little bit. Again, I will advise, unless you have some sort of knowledge of kind of back-end web development, which we can do as an advanced webinar. But today we're going to kind of just go through in more of a simple basis. kvCORE does a really good job of giving you a website right off the bat that is pretty usable and professional. Once you get your photo popped in your profile, it's all pretty much ready to roll out. So I would kind of advise, unless you do know quite a bit about website development, to maybe kind of keep most of these settings as the defaults. And then if you really have any interest, we can definitely sit down and do it together. But I'd hate for anyone to get into a position where they are editing their site, changing things, and then they may not like those changes and they don't know how to go back. So let's keep things as is in terms of this stuff, some of this more advanced stuff. And then if you are interested in kind of making some bigger changes like that, we can do it together. So that's the website settings. Now let's go back to the Web and IDX homepage and see some of our other options. Site content. So here you're able to kind of really get into kind of like the middle part, and you're going to kind of throw some more content in here beyond, and you can do that with testimonials. So you can connect to your Zillow reviews by entering your email and your screen name. And if you don't have any Zillow reviews, or if you don't have a Zillow, if you don't have access to that, you can add testimonials from past clients. So let's say Bob Smith wrote me after I helped him sell his house, and he just said, Ryan is the best. Bob is a man of very few words, but I appreciate it. So here's your testimonial in here. We'll give it a 5-star rating, and then where that testimonial will appear is, I'll refresh the page here, right here in the middle. So you can do several testimonials too. I put in another one in here just as a, I'll change it up a little bit. I'll say Ryan is awesome. So if you have more than one testimonial, they can both be visible on your site. So here's Bill Smith saying I'm awesome. There's Bob Smith saying I'm the best. You can have several in here and they kind of scroll through. So then when someone views your site, they have your name, your information. Here they have that search bar, as we went over in that last, in a couple webinars ago, how you can use this site as a lead capturing tool. So here's a way they can, a home finder for them. These are some widgets that we will get to in a second, and they'll scroll through and they'll see why they should do business with you. So get your testimonials on your website. That would be a very good way to help market yourself. And again, as you saw how easily you can turn these on or off if maybe for whatever reason you don't want to include a testimonial, maybe you have so many and you want to kind of weed out some of the older ones, you can just simply toggle these off, and they will eventually disappear from your site. The next part in the site content is service areas and SEO. Basically, like, these are places you can add any areas within the ML, and it'll kind of show up on your site that you do work in that area. So basically you want to do that and it shows up in here, right on the bottom of your website. You'll want to do that because then someone might be searching, Arcadia Realtor. If you're willing to go out to Arcadia, you can kind of have that on there, and then you're going to show up in their search. And what else? People can also, when they're on their site, they can click on one of these areas, and it'll show information for that particular area. So you do want that on your site because it helps people learn more about areas that they're interested in, and it's all under your domain here, so it's all going to be associated with you, and they're going to be your go-to for some business. Lastly, in this site content tab are the custom pages. Now, one thing that people ask quite a bit is they want to put various things, various buttons kind of like these on there. Unfortunately, they're kind of limited with certain things you can put on here. but custom pages gives you at least a little bit of leeway to put some content that you might want right on accessible on your website. So let's say, for example, you have a checklist or something like that that you like to send to clients on when they go to sell their home. You can do like home seller checklist. And then you can type it in like this. Seller checklist. Then what you could do is you could highlight this and you can make it, you can link it to something. Like if you were to have a PDF, you could take a PDF, upload it to the Google Drive, and then make a shareable link and put that in here. So unfortunately, it doesn't look amazing. You can't exactly, you're kind of limited on what you can do. You can mostly just put text in here. You can't put photos or anything like that. But then when you do a custom page like this, and you kind of change some of the data here, which we're not going to do because it's all pretty much standard. And we want what we want to put as our category. We'll do seller. So it should show up here in a second. Again, the thing with the site stuff is sometimes it takes a few seconds to process. So let's see where we can find our custom page. And those will be accessible here. Where are we? No. Again, like I said, it might take a second to kind of show here and to go live. So we'll hold off. But anyway, those are custom pages, and that's going to be how you can kind of link to. It's not the cleanest way to link to other. Where are we? We'll find it before we end today. We'll find it'll show up here with our with our other options. Anyway, moving on. Testimonials, very important. They can go right on the middle of your website. And let's get into some listing carousels, also very important. Let's get into some of the widgets. So these, as I mentioned, these are widgets. And the way you can edit them, put new ones on, those all live here in the widgets tab, right next to the embeds in the blog, which not to backtrack too much, but the blogging is extremely important. You can link to your blog here right on your website, and it's up here, accessible to your agent. There's the blog. And then, as I mentioned in my previous webinar, the blog is a way to drive people to your website. So it's just a really important, not blogging isn't for everybody, but it's a really effective way to market yourself, talk about your experience, help others gain experience, and then also you're doing it all under the umbrella of your website. That's what you want. Anyway, your widgets. So these are my widgets. They're the just listed default widget and a home worth default widget. As you can see here, there's the just listed and home worth. See, anyone can click right on my site, they can find out what their home is worth. And then they're captured as a seller lead. Or they can find out some of the newer listings, which also are accessible on my website within the listing carousels, but sometimes this button would just capture them right away. There's also a widget to my blog. So it's a really easy way for someone to find my blog posts. Again, even though, as you know, as I just mentioned, my blog is also accessible here, right on the front page of my site. But again, I might grab them here before they scroll all the way down to the bottom of my website. Some other options for widgets are featured homes. financing information, which is very important. Some open houses, recruiting. You can say join our team. I believe that that's one of the default ones that are just automatically added to the site. So let's say I want to do a recruiting widget. I'm just going to hit add to my widgets. And here it shows up here, and I'm going to want to add it to the site. So I'll click add once more and then append. And then there it is. Click on the link. Here's some information on Metro Roberts that we have set up. So there it is. Someone can, if another agent's viewing my site, they can find out some more information here. Now you might like these buttons, you might think they're great, but you might want to maybe change them a little bit. So those are the widgets. The way that you edit widgets is here in the site editor. Now within the site editor, you really can only adjust this stuff. So you can just play around with it a little bit here. You can change up the wording here a little bit. You can change the button format or what it says. Instead of learn more, you might want to say something else. Up to you. I will warn that the site editor is a little bit touchy. It's hard to really kind of do a whole lot at once. So I would say outside of just editing information here, like within the words, it's probably a little bit ineffective. But you might really want to change something, and then that's going to be the way to do it. Another important thing here is if you want to change, like let's say you want to link, like you'd rather this link to like the metroroberts.com website. You can kind of change the link here by hitting edit link, and you just put in a different link here. Or if you did the financing widget and you wanted to put information in about a lender that you want to link to, this is going to be how you change the URL. So that's yeah, that is a site editor. You can also change the images, but again, as I warn you, it's a little bit touchy. And then any changes you make, you just hit the save button right here. And so they're saved, but we're still in the site editor here. So exit out of that. Refresh here. So that's the site editor. Okay, so that is pretty much covering most of the bases. Just some other real kind of simpler things. Your template. So like I have the hero red template, but let's say I wanted to change that. I could do that here in the edit website settings. So if you don't like the red template here that I have, it's kind of the default one. You can change the color to anything. You might like blue. We kind of recommend that you keep it the Metro Roberts, either red, white, and blue. But again, it's pretty much up to you. I personally like the red, but you might like the blue better. Or you really want to stand out, you can do some of the other kind of wackier colors. But the foundation template will really change what your site looks like. So like as you can see here, this is much different. It's a little bit, I personally think the red is a little bit sharper, the hero template. And you can also change the color. So let's change it to, I don't know, carbon fiber. Anyway, I'm personally have a fondness for the hero, so I'm going to keep it at that. I like the red, and there it is. It's back, and let me just go back to the home page. There we are. Anyway, there's a lot you can do, as you can see. Lots of different ways you can kind of make this your own. You can kind of edit some of this stuff up here. Again, this can link to your blog right there. We have a recruiting button up here. So much you can do with custom pages, with blogging. The website is a very powerful tool, and we kind of really recommend that you use it and that you you get the most out of it that you possibly can. So that's all for today. If you have any sort of any follow-up questions, please feel free to drop me an email, or we can set up a meeting, or give me a call, and we'll go over some ways that we can kind of help you get the most out of your website. Thank you all, and we'll see you next week.